It's time out for playing games. It's time to know the truth from someone well-versed in it that has actual experience. I've worn the robe, the black robe, and I've presided over these trials or preliminary hearings, arraignments, and initial appearances. Let's get started. So what do we know? We know, after watching the parents' interview and reviewing tons of footage from social media, recounting interviews and statements of alleged witnesses that were on Horn Island, we know that Nolan Wells went to spend the night on July the 3rd with his so-called friends. And he went with those so-called friends to Horn Island on a boat on July the 4th. We know that out of the 4 people on that boat, 1 did not return home. That 1 person was Nolan Wells. The other 3 returned home as normal and said nothing to any member of law enforcement or to the Coast Guard until at least 11 p.m. at night on July the 4th. We know that at least 1 of the so-called friends was found with the phone of Nolan Wells. And we know this based on the testimony of the parents, specifically the mother, who tracked the phone and was led to the home of one of the young men where she retrieved the phone. We also know that based on the mother's testimony that there were no Snapchats from the day, which was very odd for her son. We also know that text messages were deleted. We know that when she was tracking the phone, Life 360 said the phone was one place and Snapchat said it was another place. We know that the boy that had the phone did not voluntarily turn it over or call first. He had to be found through their own investigation. We know that based on witnesses' account, the so-called friends were seen on July the 5th, that Sunday, having breakfast together like nothing had happened. They were not out there searching for their so-called friend. We know that the so-called friends deleted their social media, deactivated their accounts, and scrubbed it clean if the allegations are correct. We know that the young man that had the car at his house did not willingly turn over the keys. At first, he said that he did not have the keys. He didn't know where they were. Then he, after being pressed by the father, he finally turned over the keys. This is all very suspicious activity. We know that based on an audio recording and some video that Nolan Wells can be heard saying, "Give me my freaking keys." Excuse me, "Give me my freaking phone." And there's been 2 different versions. Some said he said, "Give me my freaking phone," or some say he said, "Give me my ML phone." Regardless, he was asking or demanding his phone. Someone had his phone who did not have permission to have his phone. So the first thing I see, the simplest thing I see, is who had his phone and why? And was that theft of the phone? Sometimes we look at the largest case, we try to get to murder. But the person that took his phone committed a crime right there. There are witnesses to who took that phone. If an affidavit is signed, an arrest warrant could be signed by a judge in Mississippi to go after that person that had that phone unlawfully. We know, based on his own words, Nolan Wells' words while he was alive, he did not give whoever had that phone permission to have that phone. So was that theft? I think if an affidavit is signed, if it was presented to me when I was a judge, I would have signed an arrest warrant for the person for theft of that phone, based on what I've heard. It'd have to be an affidavit format, but if it was presented to me in affidavit format from law enforcement, I would sign the arrest warrant for, at least at this point, theft of the man's phone. We know who had it. We know who didn't report it to the family. The family had to go find it, and we know that Nolan Wells said give it back to him, and evidently it was not given back to him. Why was that? All of the other things I've stated, you piece it together. Is there enough right now for arrest warrants for murder? That is a good question. I do know at this point there should have been search warrants signed by a judge. Evidence should have been presented to a judge by now. We are nearly 7 days after July the 4th, when he was first reported missing. There should have been evidence submitted by Jackson County law enforcement agents, the sheriff's department specifically, presented to a judge so that search warrants could be signed according to this alleged witness. But while I don't know the veracity of the allegations, I do know now that the Ocean Springs Police Department should have jurisdiction to investigate, because it would have happened within the municipal boundaries. That's if I have heard correctly, that the young men were graduates of Ocean Springs High School, so they could not be students at Ocean Springs High School at any time if they were not residents of Ocean Springs. So that's how I've concluded that Ocean Springs Police Department should have jurisdiction now to investigate. At the same time, I'm calling on the Jackson County District Attorney to be investigating. The District Attorney has its own investigative staff, or should have, and they should be investigating. The District Attorney does not have to wait on Jackson County Sheriff's Department or the Ocean Springs Police Department. It can do its concurrent investigation, and it could present the matter to a grand jury at any time once it feels it has determined or gathered enough information. So 3 different law enforcement agencies is what I'm calling on to do their jobs. If the young lady that has gone on Facebook's allegations are correct, there should be arrests this week for assault. She has recounted that she witnessed an assault, and she was very specific in naming the 3 individuals who did the assault on Nolan Wells, and she also told who videoed the assault, and she told what that individual videoing was saying while the assault was going on. She's also named an adult that allegedly had all the young people to get out of the pool and leave her home in the early morning hours of July the 5th. So that adult needs to be questioned. Every person that's identified in that pool should be questioned. It's not rocket science, but there are allegations of assault, and there's allegations of a witness, and those allegations need to be further developed and investigated. There's also allegation that everyone left that home, most of the young people left the home. They did not live there except Nolan Wells, and when she left, there was he was leaning over the pool and blood was coming from his mouth. So that is a very specific allegation that deserves to be looked into. So I'm asking and really demanding that the Ocean Springs Police Department does its job and start a concurrent investigation. Justice can no longer wait. justice has been delayed long enough. And so I am straight out of patience at this point, straight out of patience. And various crimes have been alleged. And at this point, there needs to be some arrest this week for the crimes that's been alleged and sufficiently alleged. You have eyewitness accounts of some things. And the police does not have to have a affidavit from the people that are making the allegations. They have to be interviewed by the police, and the police can sign an affidavit and take it to a judge and get the warrant for arrest. So we are asking law enforcement to simply do their jobs. Get the arrest warrants for those crimes that you know that there's probable cause that a crime has been committed already. We do believe that this week will be the week that the autopsy report come out. We are now on day 8 since the alleged, since the disappearance of Nolan Wells. And so there's been sufficient time for the autopsies to be done, if the information I've heard is correct, and we should learn the results of those autopsy reports. I would expect this week that there should be a lot of movement in this case. Once the autopsy reports are revealed, I believe that should lead us where we go from here. But the witness today that says that he was in the pool said that he was assaulted. Also said there was another argument about the phone not being in his possession, someone taking his phone and not giving it back. That needs to be investigated, and someone should be arrested for theft or larceny, or whether it's simple larceny, grand larceny. Someone should be arrested, or some people should be arrested for assault, if that is a true allegation from that witness and then those others that were witnessing it. But to continue not to follow these leads and not to make an arrest, it is unacceptable at this point. It's simply unacceptable. We know, and we have accepted it to be true for so long, that when the roles are reversed, there's an immediate arrest. And no one jumps up and down in those instances when there are immediate arrests.